What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the final whistle. Yes, we still exist. We took a bit of a hiatus. Yes, Joe's looking around trying to make sure that he actually sees me and I actually see him. Um, but it's been a long time coming. We had work kind of took over. Then we both kind of went on a little bit of vacay for a little bit. Joe, it's been a hot minute. How are you?
Blaine, I'm Joe Ciccoletti. It's nice to meet you. I hope you are doing well. No,
Pleasure's mine.
it has been way too long. Unfortunately, schedule conflicts have gotten in the way, but we are back and ready to talk some sports. We had some crazy stuff happen while we were gone, especially in the NFL world with the NFL draft, NBA playoffs in the full swing. We even missed Augusta and the golf world too. Just a lot going on, but we're gonna recap definitely that NFL draft and the NBA playoffs going on right now. We missed a lot, man, but it's all right. We're back and we are better than ever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the people really understand. Like, hey, like we're trying here. We're trying. We're getting there. We're trying to still figure out our process with the two
Oh
of
yeah.
us.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but like we can't really get back into it any better, right? Draft, NBA first round, NHL first round. Like this is like peak sports right now for
Mm-hmm.
everything
Mm-hmm.
going on. Baseball's now a month in. Like can't really write it any better. I think we timed it pretty well to get back into it.
We did. Yeah, we did. It's an eventful time. I always say like you always have this down period in sports, unfortunately, more in the summertime. When you come from like June, the end of the finals, and a Stanley Cup, because then all it is baseball, right? And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, like I like baseball, but I'm not that big, right? But like right now is a good prime time because that NFL off season is incredible. It's at its peak. You got the playoffs of the NBA, the NHL. You got March Madness just got done. You got all the PGA majors coming on. So yeah, it's a good time right now, and we got even the Derby on Saturday. The horsies, the little ponies
Oh,
coming
yo,
out.
I got to
So
put some money down on some Derby horses this weekend. Hey, and on the bright side, hopefully we won't sound as stupid as we usually do since we've had a month off. Maybe we'll
I think
sound
we might
actually with
sound
some
more stupider. If that see, that's how you start out. More stupider. Great word
more.
to use here on the final whistle. Jesus Christmas, what a way to start. So
And we are drowning early, and it only
yep.
took us the first 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, love to hear it. Love to hear it.
But let's dive in with some NFL draft talk. I think it was a really intriguing draft. I think those first interesting. I think Houston made their splash to say the least. Getting 2 and 3 going CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. in that first round. Definitely one of the winners, at least the first round. I think they were a winner of the entire draft as well. Bryce Young, kind of that was released a couple hours earlier that he was going to be the perennial number 1 pick going to the Panthers. But there was some interesting picks. The birds made some moves. They had a really good draft. Joe, just give me a deep dive on a couple of winners and losers that you saw. You can either talk first round or in general, however you want to take it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, first thing I do want to say is like I did a couple of different mocks even before here
Oh,
and
we
just
know
kind of
you did not get a single pick right. Let's be honest.
um no, I didn't. So I did. I was doing a couple different mocks, and I also was keeping an eye on a couple different people that I do follow, mocking wise, and there wasn't really any big surprises for me in that first round. Now, guys may have shifted up, guys that may have shifted down. Um, but truthfully enough, all the players, or if not a good chunk of the players, maybe 75, 80% of the players got selected in the first round, I had as a first rounder or had him as a first round grade. There
Mhm.
wasn't many that fell into that second round, third round. There's only 3 names that come off the top of my head that I had as bona fide first round picks. And that was Brian Branch, the safety out of Alabama. I really thought he was going to be a first round pick, slid to early second either way. Didn't matter. But another one, Joey Porter Jr. I thought he was a lock to
Yeah.
either the Pittsburgh Steelers at 16 or 17. And if not, or excuse me, 14 it was. And then if not, I thought he was going to Washington at 16, just because they needed the cornerback help. And
Yeah.
third, I think is the consensus one here is Will Levis. I think everyone kind of thought Will Levis wasn't the best quarterback coming out. Maybe second, third, maybe even fourth in that case. But probably should have been in the top 15, maybe top 20 of worst case scenario. And the guy falls to the second round. So those were the, three bigger names that I thought maybe would slide or would have been in the first round to say. But besides that, I had pretty much everybody else in that first round. I mean, nobody really, I guess, shocked me. Maybe a Mozzie Smith from Dallas. I didn't expect to be there.
Yeah.
But you're looking at names like this, like a Nolan Smith. He was projected a top 6, top 7 player, and it fell to the Eagles at 30. I mean, there was a lot of guys that, it seems like this draft was very well packed, and the mock drafts really showed that what they were, what the NFL teams were really thinking. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think I really liked the so ironic though that Porter found still ended up in Pittsburgh though, right? First pick in the second round.
yep,
I feel like especially those three guys that fell, they kind of found a situation where they can kind of a perfect situation. Like even if like for Will Levis, I mean, you're gonna now compete with Malik Willis, but like Tannehill's kind of on his scale down in his career. You give him and Malik an opportunity to compete in Tennessee. I like that. And I'm trying to remember where Branch fell to the Detroit Lions.
mm-hmm.
And Detroit was getting murdered for taking Gibbs so high.
Yep,
And it ended up working perfectly for them because they got a first round caliber player at 45.
yep.
So I think all three kind of fell into perfect situations out of those three guys that you're giving a grade, right? And then like you said, like Philadelphia, like I don't think it couldn't have gone any better for them, right? You already had the pick at 10. You trade up to go get Carter at 9. You had him fall all the way there. That's an absolute steal. I felt like many teams missed an opportunity because I personally thought Arizona was trading up from 12 to 6 to take him after they traded down from 3,
Yeah.
right? And then you end up, like you said, you get Nolan Smith at the end of the draft there when he was a mid first grade, right? So what a steal for them. I think another team that also had an interesting draft was Seattle, again, as well as Detroit. I think Detroit was a real winner in that first round outside. I mean, the Gibbs pick was a little high, but if you get especially with they have crazy running back depth with Swift.
No Swift. He's gone.
They got rid of Swift now. They traded him.
Yeah, you didn't hear about this?
No, I mean, so what happened? When was this?
Oh,
Was
so
this Sunday?
DeAndre Swift got traded on Saturday to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Of course he did. Of course. I go off of the sports news for 3 days and hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was a day 3 move. Yeah, because I watched the first 2 days like a hawk.
Yep.
Okay, so now it's just David Montgomery and Gibbs. So the Gibbs pick he requested a trade then on Thursday, probably.
Well, yeah, I think once that pick was made, I think Detroit already made their mind up at that point that Swift was going to be on their way out, truthfully. But yeah, I think it is a good case for both sides. I think Detroit got what they wanted in Gibbs and that pass catching back, the potential of Alvin Kamara, let's say, out of Gibbs, right? And you still have David Montgomery, who's a very, good, solid running back in the league. But then Swift gets traded to a great team and with the Philadelphia Eagles and potentially is a bona fide starter right off the bat. With Rashard Penny
with no Sanders either. He's gonna be the clear starter, I feel like now.
Yeah, I mean it's it might be a duo, a split backfield between him and Rashard Penny and Boston Scott getting a little bit of here and there time, but I think, like you said, I think the Eagles were a clear-cut winner. Jalen Carter, one of the best talents coming out of this year. They loaded up on the defensive tackle line. Nolan Smith, has the potential of being a Hassan Reddick and a 10-plus sack guy, coming
Mhm.
back out of Georgia. They drafted Keely Ringo, good solid cornerback out of Georgia. Could slide him back to the safety role even. And then picking up DeAndre Swift. I mean, it was a great move for Howie. I think a lot of GMs were scared to pick up the phone when it said 215 on it. I will say that. Howie Roseman he's a magician. That's all I can say. He's a magician at what he does, and he does it well. Good for them. But yeah, Philadelphia Eagles, clear cut winner. Seattle Seahawks, I think you said it well. Another clear cut winner. You got Devin Witherspoon, who already adds to a good secondary, makes his secondary even better now. In that case. And then you also get probably wide receiver number one in the draft, Jackson Smith Najigba, and you load that up with DK Metcalf and a
And
Tyler
Tyler
Lockett.
Lockett.
I think it's going to be a tandem out there in Seattle for Geno. And then people aren't even talking about this. And I forget the name, but he was like the second running back coming out or third running back coming out this year behind Gibbs and B-Rob. The Seattle Seahawks drafted him. I think it's the kid out of UCLA, if I'm not mistaken. Good running.
Charbonnet. Are you
Yes,
talking Zach Charbonnet?
I believe. Yes.
Yeah, you're
Another
right. Good call. Charbonnet. Yeah. Charbonnet went mid-second.
Yep, another good running back to put behind Kenneth Walker at a hell of a year, but sometimes ran into a few injury problems. But Seattle loaded up this year, and personally enough, and I'll say it here right off the bat, I think Seattle could be a top 3 team in the NFC, just based right after draft wise. If you kind of look at it,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not saying much because the NFC is absolute garbage, but I think Seattle's pretty much right there right now. I think they could be a top 3 team in the NFC if Geno can keep it up.
Yeah, I think they also impressed me as well. I mean, I think the NFC clearly won the draft a little bit better than the AFC did, right? I think there was more NFC teams that had made some really good splashes and all around, especially in those first 3 rounds, made great moves. But I got to give kudos to, like we kind of said it with the Houston Texans, like they went all in that first round. You go get your quarterback, and personally, I mean, I personally don't like the pick. You also already know, like, my gripe with Ohio State quarterbacks from previous episodes, but kudos to them for making that splash. And then you trade right back up to go get arguably the best defensive player in this draft in Will Anderson Jr. Back-to-back picks. So got to give the shout out to Houston Texans. I mean, Indianapolis, I know you're trying to make a splash. I don't know if Anthony Richardson is that answer, because I think the Colts have a team that's more win now, and Anthony Richardson's a long-term project. I know. I think so. I just don't. And they said that they want to try and play him, so it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of utilize that mindset. To me personally, I just want to get your thoughts though, also on uh your Atlanta Falcons. Like, you guys got B-Rob. How do you guys think you guys did for the ATL?
I was, thoroughly when the pick was made, I was excited about the pick.
Okay.
I like the running back. I mean, B. Rob's a blue chip player, coming out this year. One of the best running back prospects that we've seen in a very, very long time. Maybe even, I think surpassing Saquon Barkley in that case.
Right.
But yeah, I think it fits this offense, very, very well. I mean, Arthur Smith is known for just running the hell out of the ball, and that's what he wants. I kept seeing things of like, well, we had Algier who had 1,000 yards last year. Yeah, he did. But I don't think Tyler Algier is going to give you the production of what B Rob's going to give you. Like, I think B Rob's going to
Yeah.
come into this league and get you almost 1,300 yards on the ground and probably 400 yards catching as well. And probably a 12 to 13 touchdowns, easily.
Fair.
So I think the move was right. I think people are forgetting about all the moves we made in the offseason on the defensive side of the ball. So like, oh, we need edge rusher. Oh, we need this. And like, Jalen Carter, for me, I think Jalen Carter was the pick, but more and more I'm hearing is like a lot of people in Georgia didn't like Jalen Carter. So with him being so close to Athens, Georgia, and Atlanta, like I just thought something might not work out there. I
Right.
think he just needed to get a new scenery in that case. So I think it's just beneficial that he did move on to, a Philadelphia area. But yeah, I thoroughly enough, like I was pretty happy with the picks that the Atlanta Falcons made. We got B Rob and there was a running back. We drafted a left guard out of Syracuse, great run blocker. I kind of wanted Brian Branch over him, unfortunately. I was a big Branch guy, but I didn't hate the left guard pick because we do need a left guard. We don't have one.
Right.
Um, Drafted a cornerback out of Utah, actually, I believe, Clark Phillips. Big fan of him. Big fan of him. And then, yeah, I think we had a pretty solid draft. Drafted another kid out of Ohio State too, edge rusher. So
Yeah,
I was pretty
Harrison.
happy
Not
with our draft. Yeah, pretty happy. So, what about you with Washington?
mixed bag. Mixed
Okay.
bag. I knew I thought we were gonna take I really thought we would take Gonzalez there.
Yeah,
I really
a lot
did.
of people did.
Um After he fell to that point, I was like, it's a no-brainer. But I think we went with the corner that we thought we was gonna fall to us, and we went with him over, right? In Emmanuel Forbes. Not not gonna overly complain about the pick, right? Um, the one thing that I didn't like about Forbes is that he's the most instinctive corner in this class, right? That's the one that was his trademark, is that his DB instincts were the arguably the best. I know Christian Gonzalez is probably more all around of a safety because Forbes he's this he's tall, skinny, and lanky, right? He's a very skinny corner. And that's interesting because we already have William St. Juice on the other side, another tall, skinny corner.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of created an identity for our secondary that we're trying to get more length out there than really prioritize tackling and speed. But that doesn't mean Forbes doesn't get downhill and will make a hit. We've seen that at Mississippi State that he will do that. But we went for more ball skills than all around play. So I didn't mind that pick. Other than that, I think it was okay. I really did. I mean, I did like Jartavius Martin out of Illinois. Um, I know we picked him way too high. He was more of a third round. He's a third round grade, and we took him mid second. That's
Okay.
my only beef. Like, if he was our third round pick, I would have loved it. That's the one thing with our team this year. I think we took players in the wrong positions where like who was like the safety, like Branch had just gone before that. So I'm pretty sure Branch was gonna be our guy, but because he was still falling,
Mm-hmm.
um, which kind of probably threw them in a curveball there because they just weren't thinking about that and they didn't want to go corner again, which I wouldn't have minded actually if you go. I'm just looking at who was the next corner off the board, right? It was um actually I'm trying to see who was the one that I was really had my eye on. Like Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami fell into the end of the second there, and he is was some people had him with a late first grade,
Yep.
early second for sure, and he fell to the end of the second. I wouldn't have minded if we went corner again. I know our secondary needs a lot of help. So I wouldn't have mind us going Stevenson there because he can kind of he's more of a press corner. I feel like he would have been more on the outside, and we could have moved Forbes kind of to a rover type position where we can use that ball skills and instincts a little bit better. I wouldn't have minded that at all.
Sure.
So, and then I can't remember who we took in the third. I'm trying to pull it up right now as I'm scrolling.
Was it KJ Martin?
Oh no, we went Stromberg, another guy that dude was a fifth round grade, and we took him in the third.
Mm.
I mean, we need a backup center, but like he was not, he would have been there in the fourth. That's so I think I liked the pick that we took in the first. I don't mind that at all. We also took a Utah guy, offensive guard Braden Daniels.
Mm.
But We needed to address issues that was secondary and offensive line. We kind of attempted to do that. I just don't know where we took them were in the right spots. I felt like we could have gotten more upside and potential if we went best available instead, personally.
Sure. Now, that draft for the Washington Commanders kind of told me that it's pretty much between Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett, huh?
Yeah.
How do you feel
I
about that?
I kind of figured that that was the case. I'm not
Okay.
overly pleased with it, but I also get it, you know. I think they're really trying to I think they understand the team's now going to be in a little bit of a rebuild. Um
See,
I
like I
don't
don't hate
I
Sam Howell though.
I don't hate him either. The problem is that he had so much upside after his first 2 years in North Carolina, and then he showed you nothing his junior and senior year, which is why he dropped so much. Right. So, like, he gave you the raw, he showed you the flair, and then he couldn't do anything these last 2 years, really. And when you're on I mean, that's not really his fault, though, either. He played on a team that really didn't know how to, that doesn't play defense under Mac Brown. Like, they played, if they were going to win games, he had to play lights out. And he wasn't able to do that week in, week out, which is why the team struggled, right? So don't mind it. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Brissett understands that it's not an open competition. I think everyone's kind of leaning towards it's going to be Sam Howell's job, and Brissett's just the stable backup.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
That's
agree with
how
you.
I understood it. So
Yeah. No,
don't
I agree.
mind it. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't personally like it because I mean, there's the opportunity there that we could have gotten one. We could have paid for the two elite quarterbacks. We really
Yep.
could. You
Yeah.
could have went and tried to go get Aaron. I figured he didn't want to play for us, that was the biggest thing. But you could have went out and gave Lamar the money he was looking for, no problem.
Sure.
Especially
Yeah.
after denying Chase Young's 5th year option. Like, it's not like we don't have the money. Like, we denied arguably our most talented player's 5th year option because he couldn't stay on the field. So
Yeah. All right. Before we wrap this up, but non-quarterbacks and B Rob and Jalen Carter, because that excludes it. What
okay.
was the best pick made in the first round?
Wow, hold on. Let me pull it back up. I just exited my phone, just exited out of it. The best pick out of the so outside of what are the contingents?
Outside of like the quarterbacks
Okay.
and B Rob and Jalen Carter. Like,
Okay.
what did you say? Like, wow, that pick was a really good value pick there. It's gonna really help out this team, etc.
I'll give you two actually. Bill Belichick struck gold again.
Yeah.
Christian Gonzalez fell to him at 17 at New England. Like, he couldn't have drawn that up to go any better. Any better.
Yep.
Like, honestly, that is a top 5 value that fell into your lap right there at 17. So I loved that pick. Um, so I think, and he's gonna be a plug in right away, day one. He'll buy in. He knows he's going to arguably the greatest coach in history. So I loved that pick. That was easily for me the best one. But I will give you another. I also loved the value of Kincaid going to Buffalo. I liked that a lot. I
Yeah.
think um, Dawson Knox is a solid tight end option, but you're getting basically a slot wide receiver, Travis Kelsey style in Kincaid. Very
Yeah.
similar to that. He's not going to be the prototypical blocking tight end, but give Josh Allen another lethal weapon. And he, in my opinion, he has the best hands in this class, Dalton Kincaid. And I
Yeah.
don't think it's really close. And like, I would have argued that he has the best hands. And the second best guy was another tight end, and Michael Merritt from Notre Dame. I
Yep.
think the tight ends had so much value in this class, more than I mean, you have some lethal wide receivers because all four of them went back to back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
Kincaid falling all the way to the late first, Buffalo struck lottery there too. I think those are the two big ones for me.
Like it. Like it.
What about you?
gonna go a couple more picks down here. I think Miles Murphy going to the Bengals was an absolute steal for them. I know early on in the mock draft world, Miles Murphy was like a projected like top 7 pick, and then just slowly kept moving his way down boards, moving his way down boards. But for the Bengals to grab Miles Murphy, who has the upside of being a like top 7 pass rusher in the league,
Mhm.
and to help out this already like pretty decent edge rushing crew, and to just make this even better for them now, in terms of the Bengals. It's just impressive enough. I mean, for a team that, is pretty much um, having their offense shoot for the stars pretty much every week now, and just relying slightly on their defense now with the addition of Miles Murphy, I think it's just massive for them. And I think it was just such a great value pick for them at that position at 28. So
No, that's another good one. I liked all those. There was a couple of guys that fell into the second that I was like, they're gonna like we said, like Branch falling all the way to Detroit. I felt like that was a crazy good steal. Um, how about it that Green Bay took a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds? Definitely a jab at Aaron Rodgers.
wait, they didn't take a wide receiver in the first round.
Not first round, second round though. Early
Oh, okay.
second with Jaden
Oh
Reed.
yeah, I was gonna say they took Lucas. I knew they took Lucas Van Ness in the first round. So
Yeah. But there were a couple other there was some very good value because I feel like in this class there wasn't outside of like young kind of being the quarterbacks who always get overvalued. I think there was a lot of depth in this class, especially for the first round and first 2 rounds. Actually, I think there was plenty of depth in different positions for those first 2 rounds for you to get your value.
yep, yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think, tight end especially had way more depth than I ever expected. Almost in any draft. I think.
Mayer was the third tight end off the board. They took the Iowa guy in front of him, which made no sense to me.
Oh, Iowa could produce tight ends. I mean,
Oh,
what
I
else do
know
you
they're
need?
tight end you for sure,
Yeah.
along with Notre Dame. But I was just surprised that I think he fell into the perfect situation in Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, no, like I said, I thought it was a very good draft. I think a lot of teams improved. I don't think many teams really, you know, did bad, I guess. Like I don't really have like a lot of bad grades on teams. Like I guess Miami might be one because like they didn't pick until the 51st pick, but like that's on them. Like, that's
Right.
their fault. But truthfully, like even like Detroit, the Lions, right? Everyone hated the Gibbs pick, but like they drafted a linebacker who's, you know, you
Very
know,
good
yeah, it was a
linebacker.
very, very good linebacker. They drafted a tight end out of Iowa, another good guy, and then they drafted Brian Branch. Like that was great picks by them in the end, right? But if it was flip flopped and Brian Branch was the first pick, Gibbs was the second, and then the linebacker got picked second, and then the tight end got nobody would have a question and be like, oh wow, it was great picks. But either way, they got their guys. Like who cares? So yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, I thought it was a really good draft this year. I think a lot of teams really improved, and that's all that matters. So
I can't believe how the wide receivers went 4 in a row though. I don't know. I that as soon as one went off the board, everyone was like receiver, 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 receiver.
yeah.
I mean, the one concern I have is that the Chargers just continue to go weapons when they have so many more issues.
Yeah, I guess, but like,
I mean, Quentin Johnston's a dog. Like he's going to be a plug-in, but like you have Keenan, Mike Williams, and Josh Palmer, and now is he now your wide receiver for Johnston, or you put Palmer down to 3?
but
Like
like, but I'm gonna shoot right back at you. How healthy was Mike Williams last year? How healthy was Keenan Allen last year?
that's also
How many times did Jordan Palmer have to play? And who's the other guy? Brown? Dwayne? No, not Dwayne Brown. Who's the other cornerback?
DeAndre Carter had to play a lot.
DeAndre Carter. Yeah. So like you're talking about guys that like I don't know, they're like wide receiver 4 on teams, wide receiver 3 on teams, but you're asking to be wide receiver 2 now. So like you have wide receivers that get injured all the time right now. So like why not go get one?
All right, that's fair.
Personally actually really thought they should have went for a tight end, not a wide receiver.
Because is Cook still there?
Couldn't tell
Or
you.
is it Gerald Everett now? I have no idea who's playing tight end for them anymore.
I don't know. I didn't really keep up with too much of a free agency wise in terms of that with them. They might have picked up somebody and I just don't know it. So I'll have to check back on it.
All right, fair. What
All
did you
right.
think of this is now just not draft, but what did you think of the Rodgers deal? I felt like the Jets paid nothing to get him.
I thought the Jets, yeah, I thought truthfully, I thought the Jets were going to overpay. And I said it here on the podcast. I remember
Yeah,
before. And I said, like, if they overpay, then this is going to jeopardize this, franchise for again, multiple years. Um,
100%.
but yeah, I agree. I don't think they overpaid. I think they got away pretty much scotch free, essentially, giving
Yeah,
up just
didn't
what, a second rounder, pretty much. And then what next year
they
they might give up something.
yeah, it said it might be a comp. It might become a second, but they only flipped firsts. It wasn't like they didn't give up a full first, right? I don't think so
Yeah,
in
they
that
just
deal.
they moved 2 spots, I think it was.
Like
Um,
Green Bay, Gutekunst just basically said I've had enough and
sure.
basically threw in the towel.
That's fine. Yeah, and that's fine. I think the Jets made out really good with it. I think it gives them an opportunity to win now, right?
Yeah,
I had a discussion with a couple different people about this, this trade, right? And where this puts the Jets at. And a lot of people are like, oh, the Jets are like second best team in the AFC East, or oh, they're the first best team in the AFC East now. I still think they're third best team in the AFC East. I don't care.
I
Like,
agree. I would still put Buffalo and Miami ahead of them.
yeah, like until Buffalo gets shot down from that top, I'm not taking them down yet. And Miami to me proved a lot last year with the let me rephrase that. It's all going to come down to like if two is healthy for them to be two, right? And if two is not healthy, then
Yep.
I'll move Jets up to two. That's fine. But if two is healthy, everybody's healthy. I'm taking Miami, 9 times out of 10 over the Jets right now, just based on what they did last year. I mean, your weapons
Fair.
are, astronomical. Uh, you improved the defensive side of the ball with drafting Cam Smith in the second round out of South Carolina. I like him a lot, but also you picked up Jalen Ramsey as well. People are kind of forgetting about too. Um,
I got
you
some
know,
dogs.
yeah. So as much as I love it for the Jets, yes. Are they going to make playoffs? If I had a, choose, and if I was a betting man, I probably say yes, they would make the playoffs. But, I think they're third in their division, plain and simple.
Would
So,
you have ever have thought that Bill Belichick would be the worst team in his own division?
I mean, you knew the time was going to come eventually, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but it still came to the point that you didn't think the other three teams. I mean, Bill had this coming because he forced all of the other three teams to go all in so that he could be dethroned, right? So
yeah.
it's just
Well,
hard. It's hard to
actually,
fathom.
you know what? I might have to go back and retreat that comment I just said that Jets make playoffs because there is a lot of teams in
The
that wild
AFC
card
is
spot,
so deep. There's
right?
gonna be
So, like,
so many teams that are gonna be left out.
I mean, you got teams like
Well, let's run through it. Let's do the math right now, right?
the Ravens, right? Are you gonna take the Ravens or the Jets? You're gonna take Jets.
Oh, I'm taking Baltimore. I think Baltimore still now has the is more complete than the Jets are.
Okay.
It's all dependent upon again Lamar's health.
Okay.
I
So
would take Baltimore though.
so that's one. So if we're already saying Miami, that's two, right? Because you're putting Miami ahead, so that would put them in the wild card. So you only have one more wild card spot in that case, and right, and you have to look out in the AFC West because you still got the Chargers out there. Even though as much as they annoy the shit out of me, they're still a decent team enough to make the wild card spot.
Yep.
And right, I mean, I don't think the Raiders are going to do it.
You never know. I mean, Sean
Exactly.
Payton in Denver. You really,
Yeah. Sean Payton in Denver. And I don't want to put this in the universe here, but the Cleveland Browns could be back this year.
yeah. Deshaun Watson finally finding his groove again.
Has a full year under his belt, has a full training camp. You know, I've been
And
talking myself into the Browns a lot. I don't know why, but I have.
and you can't count out Mike Tomlin. The man still doesn't know to have, still has never had a losing season. Coaching matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how that team just finds ways to win games.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know. I think, and we both kind of said it that if Aaron wanted to be relevant, he needed to stay in the NFC because there's that chance now. I mean, he wanted to take on the challenge that is the AFC, but damn if you do, damn if you don't, bud. Like,
The
this is
thing
what
with
you asked
trade
for now. So,
when you get trades like this, people get excited. It's like, you go to a you go to like a vintage car lot, right? And you see like a 1960 Camaro, right? And you're like, oh, that's a nice car, right? It's all shined and waxed on, waxed off, Miyagi, you know what I mean? So and that's what Aaron Rodgers is. Wow, it looks really good. It's old and fashioned. But then if you open up the hood, right? It's not. It's old. It's rusted out. It's dirty. That's Aaron Rodgers to me right now. It was great back then, but I think now it's not. And you're
it's
trying to like
amazing.
cover it up one way or another. And it's just not there for me. It's just not there anymore for me. So,
Hey, it's fair. It's a completely fair statement. It really is.
yeah.
What do
So,
you think Lamar got the money he deserved? Just real quick before we jump NBA. Just a quick
yeah,
one.
I think Lamar got the money he deserved. I think, in terms of, I think I've said it here too. And when it comes down to it, and if I need a game winning drive, Lamar's a top 3 quarterback that I want, right? Push comes to shove. Um, and I think he just deserves the money he gets. I mean, same thing with like Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts for me is like, I don't know, that's a lot, but like you're relying only on one season where Lamar has shown over 2 to 3 seasons that like he can play at that MVP level. It's just he's just injured. That's his issue. Um, like Jalen Hurts, we've only seen 1 year of it. So, um, but yeah, I think Lamar Jackson definitely did deserve it. So, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he finally caved to what they kind of were like, all right, bud, we'll get you to the Kyler Murray number, right? I think that was kind of where they didn't want to go, but Jalen Hurts' contract, I think, forced their hand and be like, yo, what Jalen did in 1 year, I've been doing 2 or 3 years, and like, look what you guys look like with me off the field. You guys do not know how to score.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like it's unheard of. Like how they were historically bad these last 2 years when he is not on the football field.
Oh yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
you can't argue that.
Oh yeah.
So, um, I think I think he should thank Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts' deal helped him immensely to get that deal done. I think that if it didn't, we're still having a whole nother conversation.
I agree. I agree. Off the cuss, real quick. If you had to start a franchise right now and you could have the money, what the contracts were, Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson, which one are you taking?
Oh, now if I'm going based off of the contract, so I'm taking Lamar's.
Okay.
Um, I think the guaranteed money matters. That's
Was
something
it
that
that
you
much of
can.
a difference though?
I think it was 20 million. I think Jalen got in the 200 range for his contract. Maybe
Oh,
not the
I don't think he got that much. I don't think it was that much.
Hold on, I'm about to look it up.
I think Lamar got what, 185?
Yeah, he got lit. He got basically exactly what Kyler gets.
Okay. Okay.
Let me see here. Lamar got so 5 years, 260, 185 guaranteed.
Yep.
Let me see what Jalen's was. Jalen Hurts contract was 5 years, 255. Oh, so he may actually is less. He's making 180 guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. So almost identical, we'll say.
Basically an identical contract.
We'll say spade is spade here. But who you want to build a franchise around right now? Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson.
Um, wow. I mean, it's hard, right? They're so similar. I would have to take Lamar because I've seen it more consistently.
Okay.
Jalen's deal is just off of 1 year.
All right.
That'd be my argument. Are you taking Jalen over Lamar?
No, I'm still gonna take Lamar. I was just hoping you would pick. I hope you pick Jalen so I could
Oh,
fight
so you could just jump on it? Be like,
him.
you're an idiot. What are you talking about taking Jalen Hurts?
Yep. 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 That's exactly what I was trying to do, but I can't fight that one, unfortunately. So, oh man. All right, let's get to some NBA, some orange ball talk basketball here. First round was rather intriguing here. Some good matchups, right? Memphis Grizz and the Lakers came down to a little bit of it. We had the Kings and your Golden State Warriors just slide in and out barely. It was incredible. Good matchup. What'd you think about that matchup?
Honestly, um, I was I knew if we were not going to get the play-in, the Kings were the team we would want. Um, because I wouldn't have wanted to deal with Phoenix in the first round. I think we lucked out with the Clippers winning that game against Phoenix when Phoenix played nobody and the Clippers like stole it on that last day of the regular season, rallying in that fourth quarter or whatever,
Yep.
right? Because then you avoided Phoenix in the first round, then you avoid Denver so you don't get Phoenix or Denver now till the conference finals, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have minded the Memphis Grizzlies as our first round matchup. I really wouldn't have if you get if we were in the play-in, right?
Sure.
Because I knew. So like I was talking to my family about this because like I'm a Warriors fan. Most of us are Warriors fans, but we've got the occasional Kings fans in our family just because Bay Area rivalry, basically two local teams all in that same vicinity.
Sure.
You knew that they were going to come out with an energy that you have never seen in the last 15 years.
Oh yeah.
And you
Oh yeah.
saw that. You saw
Yep.
that those first two games. I kid you not. I thought we were in trouble after games 1 and 2. Game 3, especially with Draymond then suspended for game 3, I thought the series was over. I'm going to be completely honest. I thought we were done going into game 3.
Mm, okay.
But one man basically willed this team to win 4 of 5 games. It's
Put some
that plain and simple.
respect on that man's name. Hall of
Respect
Famer.
on Hall of Famer, arguably now the best corner point guard now in basketball. But I also don't consider him a point guard. A lot of people are having this point guard debate, whether he's the best point guard now ever after what he did. The man transcended basketball by creating basically the combo guard position.
Mm-hmm.
There it was like the unheard of being able to do what he does off the dribble, running 3 miles a game, continuously running for 24 seconds and potentially not even touching the ball, right? Like he will just wear teams down. And De'Aaron Fox said it well, like how J.R. Smith said it on, I can't remember which podcast it was, that Matthew Dellavedova in those NBA finals looked like he had died after
Mm-hmm.
every game because of how much effort he had to put in to guard Steph Curry.
Yep.
Like that man basically put the team on his back. And what he did in game 7 basically transcended the game of basketball. Like the man never looks for his shot the way he did in game 7. He
Oh yeah.
basically said that whatever happens, I will not allow us to lose this game.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because once we stole game 5, I was like, all right, we've got it in 6 now. We're gonna win 4 straight. But then we laid the biggest egg in game 6. We didn't match their intensity. Sacramento came out and acted like it. The one thing that Sacramento has that helped them in this series is that you have a former Warriors player, part of these championship teams, in Harrison Barnes. So he understands that moment, unlike 99% of that team. And then you have Mike Brown as the head coach,
Yep.
understanding the Warriors' ticks, how he wants to play with his team. So, I mean, kudos to Sacramento. Arguably, I thought the winner of this series was going to be the representative in the Western Conference Finals. So, I still believe that. I think now we'll get past the Lakers, completely different matchup. That's just my personal prerogative. But I thought Sacramento, if Sacramento gets past, I think Sacramento would get past the Lakers as well.
Okay.
So
I besides Steph, I think the biggest X factor was actually Kevin Looney. I think Looney had
Kevon Looney was
or
absolutely
Kevon, excuse me.
fantastic.
He had a hell of a series. The man was a machine down low. I was like, holy crap, dude. You gotta calm down. Like what?
It's crazy to think about is that he's like 6'8", 6'9" or something, and he is the definition of our size.
Yeah.
We constantly play small. Like everyone thinks that we're like Kevon's a big tall guy, that he is not. The man's like 28 years old, but he plays like he's in like the beer league at beer league games with how he plays.
Yeah, he plays a
Occasionally
lot
just
bigger than his size. You know,
correct.
I think it's safe to say he plays like he's like a 7 foot center, just grabbing boards like a Clint Capella, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
he's playing as, right? But he played very, very well this series and really held it together. There was one possession, man. He like reached over Sabonis's head to grab the rebound and just snatched it away. And they called a foul on Sabonis of it all. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable stuff. I think it was like game 5 or something like that. I was watching. I'm like, wow, look at that, man. Good rebound by him. But yeah, kudos to the Warriors pulling that out. The Lakers and Grizzlies was a dogfight. It seemed like it was like Dylan Brooks versus the whole Lakers. It felt like at one point. I'm
Dylan
just
Brooks
glad.
is an idiot. Dylan Brooks
Yeah.
is an idiot. He's just an idiot. And they
I'm,
did you see that they announced today that the Grizz are not bringing him back?
oh, really? Okay, good.
Yeah, there's sources released today that the Grizz aren't bringing him back. I was
Okay.
like, I don't blame you. Like you poked the bear, like like an idiot, and then you couldn't even back up your own talk by making a jump shot. Like
Yep.
the man was atrocious in this series.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Lakers pulling out, good stuff for them. Was hoping more from that Clippers and Sun series, but just unfortunate with Kawhi going down.
Yo, Kawhi's got to be forced to retire, bro. I love him. I
Are
really
you? Oh,
do.
you're on that? You're
I
on the
am on
Stephen A
that.
train,
I'm not on.
bro. You gotta stop with that.
Yo, I'm not. It's not.
No.
No, I agree. That is not with me agreeing to Stephen A. The man is a great super. If you're the LA Clipper, if you're a Clipper fan, you have two of the best superstars that cannot stay on the basketball court. Think about it. If you
Uh-huh.
look at the stats with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're
Uh-huh.
out of superstars that are playing in the NBA, they're the two that cannot stay on the floor.
So
What are you
if that
supposed to
happens,
do? What are you supposed to do? Like,
so if
they're
that
not,
happens,
you're not going to get 60 games out of them. So what are you going to do? You got to bank it for hope you can get 40 out of them and then push them to their limit night in, night out for the postseason. That's not enough reps, man.
no. Because then what you're saying is that you need to, every player that gets injured needs to retire. And I think
No,
that's
this is
ridiculous.
different. This is consistency over time. You see
No,
it year in, year out with
I disagree.
them.
Because I'm gonna point this out right to you then.
All
Because
right,
what you're
point it.
saying is a consensus injury over the years that they just need to retire, right? So I'm gonna literally say who is now the 2023 NBA MVP Joel Embiid gets injured every single playoff. So he needs to retire?
I'm not saying that. But he's consistently playing 65 games. There's a difference there
No,
now.
no, no. He doesn't play 65. I
He's
think this is
playing
like one of his
this.
first years that he has.
All right, so that's a fair assessment. I will give you the Joel one.
2023
Oh my God, look
NBA
at the numbers though.
MVP.
Look at it. I mean, there was serious doubts with Joel in those first 3 years whether he was going to be able to stay on a basketball court.
Of course. Yeah. I agree with you. I do. But then like it's
You
kind of
also
the
have
same
one
thing.
guy in his prime, and the other two are on their way down from their prime, arguably.
But then it's also like saying not Kawhi Leonard. Kevin Durant should also be like retiring. Because how many times is he injured?
I think that's a fair assessment now. That's now 4 years in a row that he has been significantly out. Kevin Durant.
Or let's
Multiple,
name
and
it.
it's multiple injuries. It's not
Or
like
let's
he's
or let's name another one. Kyrie Irving. Maybe he should just retire
all right.
because he's always injured.
Kyrie Irving's for different reasons why he should be retiring
Uh,
basketball.
I just think I think that is blasphemous. I'm going to turn it around on you, Stephen A. I think that is
That's
just
fine. Blaine A. Smith,
blasphemous.
add it in right there. Patent pending. Blaine A. Smith.
I think that's just blasphemous talk. I think if he wants to play, he could play. If he wants to retire, he can. But I don't think the
Dude, that's
fan.
$85 million that is going down the drain for 40 games a year.
So what do you want to do? What do you want him to do besides retire? What else are you going to do?
What are you gonna? All right, what's your answer to get him to play? He can't play.
He can't play. What do you mean he can't play? You're saying he needs to retire. I'm saying he can play. He can still play at a high basketball level. Kawhi Leonard went on the floor as a top 10 player in the league.
I
Right or wrong?
agree. And
Okay.
the man cannot stay healthy enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. He plays great hurt. He plays great hurt. He had 35 with a torn MC. Is it torn meniscus or a torn MCL or whatever it was?
Yeah, I think meniscus. Yeah.
Like he played game 2 and had played lights out on a torn meniscus. Like think about that. Like the man's, and then even in that when he won the title in Toronto, like he wasn't healthy the entire year.
No.
Postseason, he just willed himself to somehow get onto the court. So that's another question mark, right? Do you like if you're willing yourself to play, can you try and give yourself the team 5-10 minutes and see if you could give your team a go? That's a different conversation though, right? Like the old Pat Riley speech, like in the was it late 80s, early 90s with the Knicks.
Yeah, but but Kawhi did that in game 2. The knee was already messed up during game 2.
Yeah, I know. He hurt it in game 1.
Yeah. So what do you so I don't understand what the
why wouldn't you try and give it a go in game 3 then if you had already given it a go in game 2?
Because what happens if the swelling now is even worse and you can't move, right? What are you gonna do? Oh, he just
he should
just
give it a go. Give it a go.
Yeah, just retire.
You can't. The Clippers win that series if the Clippers win that series if one of them plays.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. If Kawhi Leonard plays, he might. But you also are saying you're kind of also blaming money, right? You're saying $80 million down the drain. But we just talked about Lamar Jackson getting $180 million guaranteed, who hasn't played a full season the last 3 to 4 years. Should he retire?
He's still in his prime. That's different.
Kawhi Leonard is still in his prime. I do not want to hear that.
How old's Kawhi? Is he 34?
I don't know that answer.
All right, your turn to Google. I don't know, man. Really think about this though. If we add this up, his last
Kawhi Leonard's 31 years old.
Oh, damn, he is in his prime. All right, maybe I might have to eat my words. Son of a bitch.
Like, for me, Kawhi Leonard is still, like I said, top 10 player in the league, still a great player. No need for him to retire. Yes, he has had a string of injuries, but to say that he should retire.
A string of injuries is an understatement.
Okay. Whatever you might want to say. A string of torn ACLs in his case, almost, it seems like. But in that case, and he has had an injury-riddled career, I agree. But when he's on the floor, he's a top 10 player, and he is an NBA champion. That is enough.
All right, then he's got to come up with a different contingency plan to make sure that he can stay on the court. He's got to try something different. Whatever he's been doing the last 3 or 4 years ain't working.
I mean, you got to think about it like this, right? He's going up against arguably the best player on the other team on the defensive side of the ball, right? And on the offensive side of the ball. That's just what he is. Like, you got to think about, like, let's think about it like this. Joel Embiid, MVP 2023. He's not going up, probably 7 out of 10 times, he's not going up against the better offensive player on the other side, right? I think that's fair to say.
Oh, that's 110% fair to say because it's a guard-driven league.
Thank you. So, and same thing with Jokic because he's a center, right?
Well, why do you think the 3 MVP candidates were power forwards and a center?
Thank you. So Kawhi Leonard, game in and game out, has to go up against the best and gets played against the best. Obviously, the body's going to get deteriorated. That's just what it is. You know, you're playing against the best of the best. You literally just said to me, Darian Fox went and played Steph Curry on defense, and it
Yeah.
literally was unbelievable to play, and he was exhausted out after every one. Same thing with what J.R. Smith said about Matthew Dellavedova when you go up against the best. The man literally came back like he went to the grave.
Yeah.
What do you want him to do?
I don't know. I'm doing a math right now in my head. Hold
What
on.
math are you doing? 2 + 2 is 4. What do you want me to
Well,
do?
I'm doing different math now. I've just kind of blocked you out the last 5 minutes, so I can
Good,
do my own math.
good.
628 divided by 11. No, that's not right.
That's definitely not right.
No, wait. All right. So yeah, he's played 628 regular season games. You divide that by the 11 years he's played. He's right now averaging 57 games a year. That doesn't include probably the amount of games he's played in his first half of his career. Now see, I will eat my words a little bit, but I am going to see what his stats are game wise.
All right, while you look this up, I want to talk about a couple other series real quick. All
All
right.
right, go ahead. Start
Nuggets.
talking.
Nuggets with a clean gentleman sweep over the Timberwolves. Timberwolves never stood a freaking chance in that series. So,
Anthony Edwards is the only reason they won a game.
yep, you got that right. New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson leading the way, Julius Randle beating the Cavs. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Donovan Mitchell showcased that he might not be as good as we think.
There you go. Coming from the Utah guy out there. And I want to talk about Mr. Jimmy Butler beating the #1 seed Milwaukee Bucks. That was an incredible performance on games 3 and games 4 specifically.
Man was special.
The 52-point game, and then also the 42-point game to close it out. He is on a mission right now. On a mission.
Oh,
Beats.
yeah. I mean, he's not playing tonight. Did you see that?
Yeah, he is out with an ankle injury, unfortunately. So yes.
That injury in game 1, I think, changed that entire series now, potentially.
I agree. I agree.
But then what he did was absolutely insane. You can make the argument that he had one of the top 5 series ever in postseason basketball. The Miami Heat only won that series because Jimmy Butler put them in that position to even stand a chance.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was winning them. He was the reason they were winning games.
I remember, I think it was the game 4. And they were down like 10, somewhere around in the fourth quarter. I was like, I'm gonna go upstairs, hop in the shower, and I'll go back down and wait for the 10 o'clock games to come around here on the East Coast. And next thing, I'm like in the shower, and then I get out of the shower and I hear the TV and like the crowd's cheering, and they're in Miami, and I'm like, why is the crowd cheering that loud? Like they were down 10, like 16 minutes left. I come downstairs, it's flip flop. Miami's up 10. And that's when buckets went off and had the crazy 3 and this and that and this and that. Like Jesus Christmas. I mean, he's on another dude. When he's on, he is on. Like there's no stopping this man.
Playoff Jimmy he's on another planet.
Unbelievable.
You can make the argument that there is not a better playoff performer in today's NBA. Like that is a fair statement if you look at what he's been doing, especially since he's gotten to Miami. Like it's not like these teams like have anybody else really behind him. Like it is him, and that is it.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think he gets it. And the Heat kind of accepted that fact, right? That they don't care what happens in the regular season. Just do enough to get there. Jimmy will have decent numbers. He'll average around 20 to 23 points a game. But they know when it matters most, the man's going to give you 48 minutes and he'll give you 32, 6, and 8. And like you said, same thing as the Kawhi talk, right? The man is being guarded by the best player defensively, and he's guarding the opponent's best player on the other side.
Oh yeah.
And he's
Oh
giving
yeah.
you everything he's got in the take. And usually he's not even practicing the next 2 days because he's trying to recover and get his body back to even get himself back onto the court. So,
Yeah.
like in that game one against the Knicks after he rolled it, like he did not belong on that court, but he just mentally willed himself to stay out there and just be he was literally just, it was 4-on-5, but he was there to be a bystander and just say, I'm not coming out of this game. Like I've done too much for this team to not be here.
Oh yeah. I mean, you said like, he's probably a top 5 player right now coming playoff times. When he's on, he's on. You know what I mean? Like, I think Buckets is definitely there. I think Steph Curry's there. I think LeBron James. I think Damian Lillard is, and even a little bit Devin Booker as of recently has just been balling. Like, Jesus Christ. It's like every night it's like 30 plus. I'm like, God damn, Devin, like relax. Some guys that can just straight up ball, man. Tatum's another one. God
Yeah.
almighty. Oh, let's get into that. Great game one, 76ers, Boston Celtics, one of the best games of the playoffs so far. Joel Embiid's out, the 2023 MVP, Joel Embiid, excuse me. Let me get that right here. I got to say it as much as I possibly can. Is out. We as a Sixers fan, I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat and I'm like, if there's going to be a game to steal, it's going to be game one. We have to do it. And I said, but we're going to come out slow. We're going to come out down 8, down 10. And what do? We come out down 7. Boston can't miss. They shot like 85% in that first quarter. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Then Tatum goes off in the second quarter for almost 20 himself. I'm like, geez, this kid can't miss. But the Sixers willed their way. James Harden has the game of his life. It's the vintage James Harden of the Houston Rockets with 45 points. DeAnthony Melton's dropping tray balls. Tyrese Maxey's doing little whoop-de-whoops and ends. Tobias Harris
That's my new calling card, the whoop-de-whoop.
Tobias Harris getting his buckets and B-ball Paul from the mud. People don't know B-ball Paul like they do here in Philadelphia. I don't think you people realize out of the Philadelphia area, we fucking love B-ball Paul here too.
Shut up, bro.
We love B-ball Paul.
You didn't even know about B-ball Paul till last night.
You shut your mouth. I have been saying B-ball Paul is a backup center in this league, and he is great. But I will tell you something. After yesterday's performance, they need to build B-ball Paul's statue outside of Wells Fargo Center for going 4 for 4 at the free throw line.
Here we go. Here we go. The Philadelphia fan base coming right out, jumping from outlandish to hyperbolic in 5 seconds. That a boy.
But yeah, I was literally on the edge of my seat, and truthfully, I was like waiting for that Tatum dagger, right? Like I'm like, when is it gonna happen? When is Tatum gonna hit that 3? Or when is Tatum gonna drive the lane and get an and-1? It's gonna just put it into the Philadelphia 76ers heart, and it just never did. He never did it. Yeah, kudos to James Harden, man. I mean, he played his ass off, man. He played his ass off yesterday. But yeah, it's going to be interesting series. To say the least. I didn't have it going less than 6 games. But we'll see how it turns out now. So,
no, I mean, I think what James Harden did last night was very oriented based off of I think what Steph did the night before. I think what Steph did the night before kind of was like, especially because Embiid was already said he was going to be out. I think it was by like Saturday. They pretty much guaranteed he wasn't playing game one. And then you knew Harden was going to have to do something spectacular if Philadelphia wanted to have any chance in that game. And like you said, he showed up as James Harden, Houston, peak when they were always in those Western Conference finals. Like he showed up, showed out. And the one caveat and the one thing that James Harden says is that he's not there when it matters most at the end of games. He said, F y'all, I'm about to show you what's really good in the fourth quarter. And what he did to Al Horford was he rocked that baby to sleep and hit him with that little classic step back.
Yeah.
And he basically said, hey, man, the beard's going to keep growing. I'm going to be looking like Santa by the end of this. So, I mean, what he did, and I think he also understands as that one person that has gotten to closest to the pinnacle of basketball out of that group. That's it. You heard it after the game on his mic. That's just one, boys. That's just one. We can't be celebrating that we just won it all. That's just one game. He's leading them by example in this series. And he showed up and showcased what the teams from Brooklyn were looking for, what Philadelphia was looking for him from last year. You're just not going to get it on that consistent basis. But he said, I can still give a little spritz of it here and there.
I think, but you said it best. Is like, you get that vintage James Harden, and that's where it's the mentality of, oh, that's only one game. Where we also have another guy on there who didn't really do anything on the stat sheet, but it's PJ Tucker as well, right? Like PJ Tucker on the stat sheet, if you look at it, you're like, what is this guy doing? Like, why is he even on the floor? Pretty much, right? But like
Fair.
what he brings on the veteran side of things, the experience of the playoff runs that he's been on and been with. And him, I said it kind of best too a little bit today. It's like when it comes to 50-50 balls, it's not 50-50 balls because he wins more than 50% of them.
Right.
Like it's just like he brings so much to it, and to this team. And during the regular season, I'm like, dude, Tucker, you gotta make this, or oh, you gotta make a three, and he misses it. And you're just like, all right, why are you here? Well, now you're beginning to see why he really is here, right? He's leading this younger team by example and like, pushing them through, and how, he's making some of these guys liable, but in the same sense, like, hey, keep your head up. It's all right. It's just one play. You keep moving along with it. There's a great teaching moment last night. I think it was closer to the end of the game, and the Celtics ended up getting like 2 offensive rebounds and then scored, and then they went up one. They went up one, I think, at the point or something like that. But like Paul Reed could have grabbed the rebound, missed it. They come back to the timeout. PJ Tucker just like turned and was like, "Dude, why didn't you grab that rebound?" Like, yeah, like it's like little stuff like that. And but he's like, "Yo, keep your head up, though. It's all right, you know." And then Paul Reed goes to hits 4 free throws, and I'm about to build him a statue outside of Wells Fargo Center. But here we are. But yeah, no, like I said, I think PJ Tucker really gives you that veteran experience, as like James Harden does too. So,
And just on the flip side, from a Boston perspective, you have to really feel like that this team is not showcasing anything that you want to see. They're taking these games way too nonchalant, checking out of games. Like that Atlanta series should have been a sweep, and it went 6 because the team is not taking these series seriously, and they let players get going. They let Trae Young come into your building in Game 5 where it should have been a gentleman's sweep, and he basically ripped your heart out and then made Game 6 extremely difficult for you guys to even win that series. And then last night, no Joel Embiid. You should be coming out with a mentality, yeah, we're going to beat these guys by freaking 30 and run them out of the freaking TD Garden without their best player. And what they do, they get out to that fast start. They thought Philadelphia wasn't going to throw a punch back. Philadelphia threw them a couple left hooks, and they're the ones that are relying on the mat at the end of the game because they didn't respond. There's a lot of question marks with this Boston Celtics team that I'm really seeing
well,
in these playoffs so far.
Jaylen Brown had an interview last night, and he was like, "Yeah, the Sixers play really good, but like we played mediocre." And I was sitting there and I'm like, "Did you really though play mediocre?" Because Jaylen Brown was 8 of 10 from the field, 80%. Like you can't get much better than that, right?
No.
Jason Tatum was 14 of 25, had 39 points. Can't get too much better than that, right? So I'm like, where is stuff getting messed up? And like the only really thing I'm seeing, from the box scores, okay, Derek White didn't really have a good game, but like after that, like it just comes down to turnovers. Like Jaylen
They
Brown
were
had
extreme. That's been their caveat last year too in the postseason. They cannot take care of the basketball.
Jaylen Brown had two costly turnovers, I remember, to start that fourth quarter, which was killer for them. And Marcus Smart had 6 turnovers alone by himself. So
Yeah.
I think they're just gonna have to figure that out. But it's still gonna be a hell of a series between these two. I mean, worst case scenario.
And I
So
think Missoula being there showcased his rookie coaching last night. Could not make an adjustment when it mattered most. In
yep,
that moment, you force someone but James Harden to beat you. You
yep,
know he's cooking in this fourth quarter. At this point, he's already at 35, 40 points. Someone else should be, even if that you're giving that other person a wide open look, if it's like a Tobias Harris or a Tyrese Maxey, you make sure that James Harden's not the reason that you lose the game.
yep. Well, that's
Like,
what's gonna happen in game two.
oh
They're
yeah.
gonna
Well, now
they're gonna
Philadelphia is playing with house money. You
yep,
don't have to rush Embiid back. And now you're like, all right, we got our split that we were already looking for. We're playing with house money in game two. Just go
agree.
out and play the same thing, play the same way.
Yep. I was talking to a couple people and listened to the radio today, and it was like, well, Joel Embiid's still doubtful. I'm like, yeah, you don't play him. Give him till Friday. He comes back Friday, game 3. If he's ready to go, great, right? And you're gonna go. I said yesterday as a Sixers fan, if I told you they were gonna come back to Philadelphia 1-1, I'd be ecstatic, right? And I think that's just what it's gonna be. I think truthfully, I think the Celtics are gonna blow the hell out of the Sixers tomorrow. Like I think they win by 15 plus. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Um,
wouldn't surprise me.
yeah.
They need to come out with a different level of intensity.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's just gonna be a statement win for them. And yeah. But real quick, predictions on this semifinals. Who advances? Miami, New York series. Who's advancing?
Wow.
It is
I don't
Miami 1-0 right now. So
Miami's up 1-0. What's the score of the game right now? Do we
pretty
know?
tight. Pretty tight. It's 88-85. 8 minutes left.
Wow. If the Heat somehow go up 2-0, I mean, I was actually gonna take Miami either way.
Okay. Yep.
I think the Jimmy Butler injury definitely changes some things with the severity. I think they rested him for game two and just be like, all right, give us 20 to 25 minutes in game three. And I think I like the Heat now, probably in 6. I like the
Okay.
Heat in 6 there. What about you?
I got Miami in 5. I'll take Miami in 5.
So you think they'll go back into the Garden and win it in the Garden to close
Yeah.
them out? Okay.
Yeah. Especially because I think Jimmy should be fine by then. If it's an ankle, I mean, it's a little rough, but like, I don't know. I think they'll be okay.
They got magic pixie dust that they didn't have now in the NBA or whatever they do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got some good drugs in them now. Um, Lakers, Golden State. I think you said Golden State you do like. How
I
many
do like
games?
my Warriors. I think it'll go the distance again, though. I like it in
Going
7.
7.
I think it's gonna go 7 again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think it's gonna home to games are gonna matter. We're arguably the second best home team in basketball. I think that's gonna be the difference.
Okay. All right. Ooh, this one's tough. I will go Warriors in 5.
Ooh.
I think the Warriors get them in 5.
Wow. Do the Warriors keep up their streak and get another road playoff one? Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
they have
yeah,
to.
they do. They do if it's going to be in 5, so never
Yeah,
mind.
I think
I asked that question, and as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, "You're a moron. Great job."
we're already drowning in water. We're already drowned, so like we'll just hear. Yeah, I just like the Warriors the way I like the way they're playing. The only thing that's gonna slightly concern me in this game one is that they did just like literally fight their hearts out in that
Yeah.
round one. So I just don't know if fatigue's gonna catch up to them eventually. Um
Home
but yeah,
game helps. Home
oh
having
yeah,
it making it be a home game helps to start.
oh
Road
yeah.
game, I would have definitely taken the Lakers tonight if it was a road game.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's go Sixers Celtics. Sixers up 1-0 right now.
Sixers and 6.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna take them as well, Sixers and 6. I absolutely love it. And the last one, Nuggets, Suns. Nuggets are up 2-0 right now.
2-0. What Denver is the most disrespected team in basketball. What they are doing is absolutely insane. What they did last night, they absolutely locked down Kevin Durant in that second half. They pretty much shut him out. Chris Paul's injury, it's a groin. I highly doubt he'll be ready for game 3. That's going to be a huge issue there. I like Denver in 5, gentlemen sweep.
Ooh. I'll take
Because
Phoenix on the comeback, man. I think Phoenix comes back game 7.
you like Phoenix at 7? Okay. All
Uh,
right, going out on a limb.
yeah, I
Yo,
love
low key, a disrespected playoff performer, Jamal Murray. I mean, he had a rough night last night, but he
he
is the
did fucking.
reason they are playing lights out basketball right now.
Yeah, he did have a rough night. 3 of 15. Jesus.
But
Oh,
he
and
made
9
he
from
made
3.
the 3 most pivotal plays in crunch time. 2
Okay.
assists, and he made a crazy step back to kind of
Yo,
ice the game.
Jokic is just like why? Like I just don't understand. Like, do people like not guard him?
I
Like
don't
39 points and 16 rebounds. Like
yeah, I don't know, man.
whatever. Jesus Christ.
He's
Okay.
like he's very Luca-esque with how they both play in slow motion. They're gonna get to their
Yeah.
spot whether they like it or not, whether you like it or not. It's just whether or not he's gonna hit the shot.
Yeah, I guess you're right there. So, all right, man, it was good to be back. Man, it was good to be
It
back.
felt good our heads are starting to come out of the water a little bit. We're
No, we're
starting to
treading.
tread. We're still
No, we're
no, we're
so
oh come on. We're
you're
treading now at this
so
point.
look, let's be honest. At least I might be treading. You're so drowned after that Kawhi take that you just have no more room to talk. So, um, yeah. I'm glad we're back. I'm glad Blaine's back here to give us some bad takes, but here we are, you know what I mean? I gotta stabilize this podcast here.
Oh, shut
Uh,
up. I am the reason this podcast goes with my outlandish takes according to you.
um yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back next week. We are gonna be back next week. We're gonna
There
figure out
will be we will be back next week. We are making sure there will be an episode next week.
we'll be back next week to discuss way more. Definitely get into NBA playoffs, maybe even talk some little baseball. Bryce Harper returns actually tonight. Quickest recovery time documented from a Tommy John surgery from a positional player. I think it's like 170 days, which is
Crazy.
wild. So
Crazy.
we'll talk about maybe a little bit of baseball. Maybe we can get into a little NHL talk. I don't even
Hey,
know.
hey, I'm just gonna end on this. There's nothing better than playoff hockey. It is the
Yeah,
best sport to watch. I don't think
yeah.
it's not close. People who are ever gonna disrespect me on that, you can come at me whenever you want on whatever
Well, Adam,
platform we're
Adam,
on.
Adam,
Adam,
Adam.
Adam, Adam.
Yeah, so stay tuned for next week. It should be a doozy. We will be back next week. Don't you worry about that, folks. I know you missed our faces way too much, especially that face over there. Look at that.
With the broken arm.
Yeah. Hopefully in 2 weeks that thing comes off and he'll be back to normal, ready to go. And maybe we should also do a segment where, like, once you start golfing again, we start talking about golf scores or something like that, right? Like,
We'll
let's
do.
do.
We'll break down what our best shot or shot of the day is or our
Yeah.
round of the week.
Yep, love it. Absolutely love it. I think it'd be electric to do. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, always follow the socials. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, of course. And yeah, let us know how we're doing and comment on the videos and the podcast. So, but yeah, as always, take it easy, folks. We'll talk to you soon.